Hey, Boston Buddies. Welcome to a Monday edition of Brunch with Boston Buddies. It's a big day here, actually. Not only do we have Gary Fanelli, but obviously we were supposed to be running the Boston Marathon today. And we're starting at 12 o'clock, as Gary pointed out. That's the original time that they used to start the Boston Marathon. Correct, Gary?
Yeah, for over 100 years.
Right. They started, yeah. So welcome to brunch, Gary. You've been a member of Boston Buddy since the beginning. Actually, I think you were one of the first people I invited. You've been able to see all the craziness over the past 3.5 years.
Yeah, no, it's a real positive page.
Yep. So just so you know, there is no problem with your camera right now, everybody. It's just me. Gary's on the phone here. So we're just going to do the interview over the phone. So Gary, you've had a pretty storied career, actually. I really like your attitude and everything about the marathon and running in general. You started back, I guess, in the 70s, but you actually ran in the Olympic trials in 1980, right? The year that the U.S. boycotted the Olympics because they were in Russia, correct?
Oh, that is correct. I had run Boston Marathon before the Olympic trials over the years. In fact, first time around Boston, my friend was registered for Roslyn here. I told him I'd help him drive up and help him drive back. And I got Boston Marathon fever, and I hopped in the race. I was unofficial, and I crossed. I didn't cross the finish line, but I finished almost to the side around 2 hours and 26 minutes. So I was very jazzed. I was like, hey, it's a good marathon.
Right, yeah, because you didn't really, did you run in high school or anything? Because it sounded like from looking at your Wikipedia page, after high school, you moved to Maui on a
I
commune.
did. Tommy and I was an guy.
Nice.
When I had run CYO in grade
Okay.
I had run in high school, and I was considered fast. So that Gary Fanelli, he's really fast. So yeah, I ran fast on the then I did join the hippie dippy commune on Maui and went all over on Maui, but I used to walk races. So on Maui, and I'll be running here and there up and down hills. So I always stayed fit.
Okay. Awesome. And then when did you figure out like you could make a career out of this, or because you came back and then you started? I guess you were at least your Wikipedia page says you were selling bee pollen and you used to take 10 pellets of bee pollen before a before a race.
The big one I took had a lactic acid buffer, sodium phosphate. It was on the shell, so that was the real catalyst. Buffering lactic acid so you can run longer, more efficiently without lactic acid. So in that regard, big pollen that I was selling, which I used to run.
Okay.
It was a fad back then. Made a lot of money.
Right. Was it? And then I guess after the fad, I mean, it wasn't that long after that you started running, like, and like professionally running.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a building thing from grade school to high school and then beyond. I had a vision in 1968, real strong vision. One day of being in the Olympic Games. So I trained for that goal. On Park Road, I never looked like back then it came to be 20 years after I had the vision. That's a long time to hang in there.
Wow.
I had
Uh,
foot surgery, the Olympic trials boycott. Um, I ran in the Olympic trials in 1980. We weren't going to get the Olympic Games, but I was the lead. We had set up that we would run faster here at the Olympic trials. Games in my running sub 5 minute pace for like 16 miles. I got these guys going on this tried to turn a lemon into lemonade.
I hear you. You know what?
It was all I could do, and nobody knew what I was going to do. They thought I was going to run away the halfway and like 104. So they knew, so we can't fight for this guy, they don't want him to run away.
Right. And what'd your shirt say? Like that was, you were protesting basically the fact that we weren't going. What was your shirt?
I was the only one being a stand-up guy that had the protest shirt that said the road to Moscow ends here. I was pretty fired up about all that.
Yeah.
And I took a stand politically.
And I mean, when you ran the trials, they knew at that time that they were boycotting, so there really wasn't a.
Oh yeah, it was the Olympic trials to nowhere.
It really was to nowhere. Okay.
And my protest shirt and my warm-up shirt said the road to Moscow ends here. Nobody else of the 200 guys had any protest shirt or this or that, and so I did things my way, and I have no regrets. And I think later it came back to me that I was allowed to ultimately run in the Olympic Games through some really strange circuitous route that I never even dreamed of. I was in on Olympic trials in 1984, and I just had foot surgery, and I didn't make the team. And I thought, my dream, that psychic vision that I had was slipping away. And then lo and behold, I was living in Hawaii in a relationship, and people came up from American Samoa and said, this is 1987, that they have been allowed to participate in the Olympic Games for the first time.
Okay.
And they're looking for someone to coach track and field. And several people submitted resumes. My resume was approved, so then I moved to American Samoa as a coach. And that was fun and exciting and adventurous. And then one day they said, by the way, we have a slot here open for the marathon. Would you like it? Because the other Samoans are big people. They were good at shot put and discus, but they weren't good at marathon. So even though I was a coach there, they said I could fulfill this slot. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, that's and then you were also on the 4x4 team, right?
I could have been.
You were. I saw you were listed as the only member on the 4x4 team.
Well, yeah, that was a tongue-in-cheek, funny thing. Hey, Gary, we get Gary Fanelli in the relay. I don't have anybody else, but here he is with the baton.
Right. Maybe we could send some of our guys over there for the next Olympics. But back like early 80s, you were competing in races with Billy Rogers and Ron Dixon and all those guys. And you were not just competing, but I mean, you were winning. You had won, there was a 10K race in Philly with Billy Rogers and Ron Dixon in 1980.
What happened with the Diet Pepsi in 1980? It was 2 weeks after I had run the Olympic trials in 2 hours and 16.
Yep.
And Bill Rogers didn't run any marathon, or Ron Dixon didn't run any marathon, within a long time. And I just come off the Olympic trials marathon. 2 weeks later, I'm at Diet Pepsi in Philly, West River Drive, and Ron Dixon's there, and Bill Rogers. And we raced, and I stayed with them. And after 5 miles, I made a move, and they couldn't stay with me. So I won, and I'm like, well, what's your excuse? Like, I just ran a marathon.
Right.
Those guys are a little bit upset about that I, quote, upset them. But, hey, when you're hot, you're hot.
Right. Right. Yeah. Then it seemed like that was one of your best years running because your PR was that year a 2:14. 2:14 was that year.
I ran a 2:14 later. I didn't go out hard or fast like I did at Boston or New York and Olympic trials. I just ran a controlled race in Montreal, and it was a hot day. And I'll tell you what, the guy who won the Olympic trials, I beat him.
Oh wow.
In Montreal that day.
Okay.
I was the first American. That was Tony Sandoval. He had won the Olympic trials.
Okay.
And then Ron Tabb, who was fourth in the Olympic trials, I beat him too. So it was a statement that, that my running controlled race at this, and it was a hot day and not a hilly course, so to run 2:14 on that and beat these top Americans, it just showed I was, for real.
Right. Yeah. And then in 1981, you actually were leading Boston for 16 miles, right?
Yeah, I was.
That picture you posted the other day. It's a great photo of you passing Dick and Rick Hoyt.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. And as I went by them, I kind of patted Ricky on the shoulder, and then the presser caught a photo of it, and that's that famous photo where you see me, and Ricky has his hand out, like trying to give me like a high five. So yeah, it was a real joyous thing, even though I was running some 5-minute pace for that 16 miles. I came through the half marathon there. That's downhill, but I came through in 1 hour or 2 minutes and like 47 seconds or something really outrageous. I was asked to be the rabbit that day because it was a matchup between Seiko and Bill Rogers. So I was the designated rabbit, and I went out, and Seiko set a course record that day. He beat Bill Rogers.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a real exciting race, and Bill Rogers' brother was on the press truck. He wanted to get all these photos of Bill Rogers, but I was ahead of Bill, so he couldn't really get really good photos, and he's like really pissed off at me. It was funny. He yelled at me after the race. Why'd you do that?
Hey, you were winning,
Well, yeah, I mean, I was leading in the Boston Marathon, and they saw me just run the halfway in like about 1:03. So I said, okay. But then I was out there, and I was all right, I might as well bring it in. And how else am I going to get back to the finish line? So I just ran 2:22 that day, and I was still in the top 100.
So how do they pick that? Like, how do they pick a rabbit, or who even picked
They
it?
knew I was really fast, and they had seen me at the Olympic trials go out and halfway into 1:04, 49 minutes at 10 miles. So they said, why don't we get Gary Fanelli? He can run this really, really fast half marathon within a marathon. And they asked me, they approached me. I was up there just going to run it for real. And I ended up being this rabbit thing. And it's history. When I came through Wellesley as the leader, they didn't have crowd control then. So it was one motorcycle in front of me, but they were really on me from both sides, and this pandemonium and cheering, it was deafening, and it was like really thrilling, but I also felt a little insecure that someone going to put her arm out or leg out, and it was fun and exhilarating, but kind of scary.
Yeah.
It was a thrill of a lifetime to leave Boston, not for 2, 3, 4 miles, but 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, you went through Wellesley in the lead. You were the first one to see the girls.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There was no crowd control then.
Right.
And they were all right next to me. It was a good thing I had the motorcycle police leading me.
That's funny.
To get through the gauntlet.
Right. But I mean, that was 81, but you still had a lot left, didn't you? You ran the 84 Olympic trials again?
Yeah.
Right?
And I ran to qualify for the 84 Olympic trials in 1983. I had run Boston 2:17. Yeah, so I love running Boston Marathon. Now, the first time I ran Boston Marathon officially was 1977.
Okay.
So my daughter was just born in March 26th. This was like April 19th. So I had my daughter up there, my wife, my dad, and I came in, I think, 2 hours and 23 minutes, and I got a medal for one of the top finishers, like maybe it was 23rd or something. So I was really, really jazzed to run that officially.
And did you have a coach or anything, or did you just go out there and kind of train yourself and run it?
Oh, I was self-coached. I knew what to do. I was running like 100 miles a week, and I was running fast on the track. I had run 2-mile race on the track in under 9 minutes.
Oh, wow. So I guess in 77, I guess it was a surprise. Had people heard of you or expected you to do that well?
No, nobody up there really knew who I was.
Okay, that's it.
Because it's such an international and national field. I was just a small fish in a big pond.
Right.
And I did well. It was about me. I was very happy that I was progressing and hitting goals within my running career. I was still building up then, so I was very jazzed.
Right.
Just become a new papa a few weeks before, so life was good.
It's the typical Philly story, the underdog coming out. Yeah.
Well, my win at that Pepsi over Bill Rogers and Rod Dixon, that was a real rocky story. My name's Fanelli. I'm Italian. I was the real Italian stallion that day in Philly. And it actually happened. I was the underdog and I beat the Olympic guys. That was a real thrill. My dad was in the race and it was out and back. And so my dad, when he saw me leading, he just really went crazy.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah, he was really proud of me then. And my brother and my sister were in the race too. And they're like,
And that's West River Drive. I run there, like all the time. That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Started by the Art Museum, ran out by Strawberry Mansion Bridge, turned around, come back. It was a hot, humid day.
Mm-hmm.
And I had run the marathon 2 weeks before, and they didn't. So I didn't know how I was going to do, but I came in and beat those guys handily.
Yeah. And then you still weren't done with Boston though. In 1987, was 87 your best place finish? You came in 6th that year.
I guess.
Okay. Do you remember much of that one? Because 6th place, you're up there the whole time, basically. Do you remember that race?
Yeah, I was having a good day.
Okay. 87. That was, I guess, the second year where they finally had professionals, where they had money or prize money.
Yeah. We weren't getting money at Boston, but I'd already been getting parents' money from Fred Lebo and prize money.
Okay.
And we were pushing for a couple of years there to open it up. Don Cordon, Benji Durden, and I, Joe Benoit, Samuelson was involved. And we really, Bill Rogers, and we really were pushing to get this open prize money and stuff all this under the table, stuff, because we trained as hard or harder than any baseball or football or basketball players. You try to run 100 miles a week.
Right. Yeah, it's not easy. It's a full-time job. So you're talking about Fred Lebo. For those who don't know, he was the New York Marathon. He founded the New York Marathon. But
He was really, really kind to me. He really liked me. He liked it when I ran in costumes at New York City Marathon.
Yeah, let's start at that, because you first started as running as Elwood Blues, right? In a suit.
Yeah, that was my first costume, and my first debut was at New York City, and it went over really well. And then about a year later, I think I was in Boston Marathon, and at the press conference, big press conference there, and Jack Semple was there. And, he's real curmudgeon guy, right? Real straight laced. And they said, and I was dressed as Elwood at the press conference, as Elwood Blues. And they got me up on the podium and they said, no, here's Gary Fanelli. He's going to run Boston Marathon this year as Elwood Blues. Chuck Semple stood up and with his Scottish accent, he said, a man of disability gonna run a Boston Marathon dressed like that. I can't stand it. And he stormed out at the press conference. Everybody went, oh my God, look at Jack. Oh, he's going crazy again. Like how he went crazy about Catherine Switzer.
Right.
He went crazy with me in the press conference and he stormed out when he saw I was going to run as Elwood Blues. He wasn't ready for someone to running Boston in a suit.
How did you end up doing that year? Because you did run it in the suit, didn't you?
Yeah, I ran, yeah, and I ran like maybe 240 something. I was playing my harmonica along the way for people. Everybody loved it. And yeah, at the start, somebody was so excited within the first 200 yards. I'm on the right side, going down the road from Hopkins, and right in my face.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. What did they do?
They threw a beer in my face.
What? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. They threw a beer in your face. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I had sunglasses on, so that shielded it a lot, but I wanted to stop, turn around and fuck the guy, but I had my momentum on my array just to keep going.
Right.
I guess I flipped them off or something.
That's hilarious. But then you did a lot of other characters though. Like you had like the bigger like movies. You were doing Ghostbusters, right? You ran as a Ghostbuster in 1984.
Yeah, I ran Ghostbusters.
In New York, yeah. And then you ran as the New York Met with a baseball.
New York Mets had just won the World Series like a few weeks before that in October. And we New York City Marathon, Fred Lebo was in on it, and they got me an official Mets uniform, and I had a ball and a glove, and the people in New York, when they saw me coming down the street, they loved it. They said, New York Mets, everybody went crazy for that one. And I would take my ball and throw it to some kid on the sideline, and they'd throw it back.
That's great.
So, yeah, that was a real fun deal, and then I slid across the finish line, and Fred Lebo declared me safe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was, I did a lot of really good high-level theatrics. Yeah, it was really fun to entertain people, wear costumes. Nobody wore costumes and races before that.
Right. Well, yeah, you started that trend. Yeah, Jacques Sample.
Nobody ran in costumes. I started with the Elwood Blues. Everybody said, "Oh my God!" Like you saw Jack Sample storm out because he knew who I was. And he said, "A man of that ability, I ran like that. I can't stand it."
Right. He wouldn't do well with the London Marathon.
It's like a three-ring circus,
Right.
people were being funny and silly, which I think is a healthy statement within the marathon, because it's so hard to do. If you have a good attitude, it makes it a little bit easier, because as you know, you can burn out
Oh yeah.
all that intensity for training for a marathon, don't you think?
100%. Yeah, I did that yesterday. I burned out real bad.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, we did the Moly Mile this weekend. So I went out with Jose, another member of the group,
Yeah,
and,
I know, Jose.
and we ran the art museum. We did 3 loops around the art museum.
Oh,
Yeah, but I was toast by the second loop. After the second loop, I was done. I was toast.
good. You have to listen to your body.
Yeah. So yeah, we just took it easy the rest of the way and just walked it in. But we finished. We got the 26.2 and we finished.
Wow.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Congratulations. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling horrible. I'm very sore. Yeah. But we have 21 weeks. I have 21 weeks to prepare for Boston. That's my next race.
September, so good luck with that. I'll be cheering for you.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, maybe you can come up and maybe I'll dress up as a Blues Brother or something and run the marathon.
You know what? If you run with Bart Yasso again up on that trail, I'll join you.
That sounds great. Yeah, he's not that far.
Who knows about the Boston of September? I can show up. I have my Blues Brother suit, and I have my harmonicas. You know, I play harmonica all around Philly. I've been in blues bands, and I play with these guys in these blues jams every week. Several times a week, I'm out there playing and singing.
Yep. Yeah. Anybody that's in the Philly area, check out Gary's page because he's always posting about where he is. He's at the local bar scenes and stuff.
Sure. Something to go look at. There you go.
There you go. And what's the name of the band? The Red Rooster Band, is it? Or
Yeah, I do play quite a bit with the Little Red Rooster Band. We play up in Doylestown, and we play here and there, and I join them a lot over Lucky Well, over in Ambler. Do you ever get to Lucky Well?
yeah. I go there. I love it there.
Yeah, it's a fun place, so I can be seen in there playing with various bands. They'll get me up for a couple songs.
Gotcha. Yeah. I highly recommend anybody that's in Philly area go see Gary at any of the local places that he's playing at. So you were talking about being theatrical and going across the finish line and stuff. So maybe do you remember the Jamaica Marathon, 1985?
That's a great story. It was a warm day, so I had a straw hat on. My character, Billy Chester Polyester. I had a beach pool and patio wear from Sears as my top. It was like pajamas and a bottom, and I cut the legs off and ran a marathon. I was so far ahead that near the finish line, I pretended I had a cramp in my hamstring.
Right.
And all the people in Jamaica there, Montego Bay, at the finish line, had no idea what I was doing, and they saw that, oh my God, here's the winner, he's coming. Oh my God, oh, he has a cramp, he's on the ground. And I start crawling.
Right.
And I crawled across the finish line.
Right. But
I really did. And then I got up and started dancing, and everybody cracked up then.
Yeah.
But before that, I made it really suspenseful. They're like, oh my God, it's the winner is, is he going to make it across the line? Can he finish? And then after I crossed, I get up and started smiling. Everybody said, oh my God, look at that guy, he's crazy.
But you actually set a national record that day too, even though you crawled across the finish.
Yeah, I did. I ran, I guess a 2:22 pace, and I came in at 2:23. So I wasn't like real high on slamming some record. It just came
Right.
along the way. My main thrust was entertaining the good people of Jamaica, who thought as much to come out there and cheer for everybody that I'd give them a thrill.
Right. Well, that's what I always liked seeing at the races, that 5K circuit, because you'd always be there supporting people, playing your harmonica or handing out water. It was always great to just see you out there cheering everybody on.
Really, it's important for me to give support and joy to runners. I'm a coach, and I love coaching, and everybody under me has always improved.
Yep.
And like you get, my attitude and philosophy is life is short, enjoy what you do, and don't take yourself too seriously.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess there was some seriousness to you, because it says in 1998 you co-founded the Puma USA road racing team. Can you talk a little bit about that? Do you remember, or at least it said that on your wiki page? You were one of the co-founders of the USA road racing track and field team for Puma.
I've been involved in the sport, and I've been serious all my life. When I race in earnest, like I did in Montreal, get a PR.
Yep.
I wasn't in any costume, so it just showed that if I applied myself, I could run good fast times, and I gave thanks for that ability. And but I have been coaching in the Ambler Olympic Club, and just been coaching over the years, so I enjoyed sharing with other runners. Like I said, the present runners who I coach now, like Ken and Marjorie, they have improved tremendously. So that gives me the great inner satisfaction that I can pass this torch on to other runners.
Yeah, so for those listening, Marjorie's a mutual friend of ours. She's a local runner, and she's coached by Gary, and she won the Rock and Roll Half Marathon National Series. She won her age group maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. So she basically went around the country and was running the races as like a sponsored runner, and she won. But she's coached by Gary. She's a great runner.
She used to run your dog.
She used to walk our dogs. Yes. Right. I'm looking at some of the, I guess, some of the races that you've run over the years, though, I mean, you've raced all over the world. You know, you've raced in Hawaii, you've raced in Canada. What would you say is your probably the favorite race that you've run?
My favorite race of all time, and I've said this over the years, is Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
It's just the classic Boston Marathon. You're going down those lonely streets in the beginning, like Natick, and you see these little signs along the way, like, oh, you're in this town and that town, and you see these like little lakes along the side, left and right, and pine trees, and it's just you and you're out there, and then it gets, funny. You're going around these corners by the firehouse and going up the Heartbreak Hill, and it just the prestige behind it and the tradition of like 100+ years now. I ran in the hundreds, by the way, with my second wife, Connie, and I, and
Nice.
man, to run the 100th Boston, man, I just loved it, and I timed it on purpose so that I would cross the line at 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds.
Oh wow.
You know how this crowd cheers for you when people are right near the 3-hour mark?
Yeah. How old were you at that point?
How old was I?
Yeah.
40 something.
Oh, okay. You're still young in your 40s. Okay.
Yeah, it was in my 40s.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, I really enjoyed that. And, I had I had Mickey Mouse shorts on.
Didn't even wear running shorts.
Just all print of Mickey Mouse all over the shirt. So
Gotcha.
it was that attitude again. I'm giving it to the crowds. I don't know, this guy's running Mickey Mouse shirts.
So what do you have anything to say to everybody that's, missing the marathon today? Obviously, we've got this coming up in September, so we've got five months to train. Any advice you can give them?
Optimize, capitalize on the opportunity where you have more time to train, so you can maximize and carpe diem, make the best of a lemon. It's sad that we're shut out of Boston, that it got canceled on this very day, but I always tell people, try and find a silver lining within that. Yeah. And the main thrust is that, hey, you got 5 extra months now of training. So do your best, even though you have hot and humid weather coming up through the summer. Just go out there, do your very best, and give thanks that you're able to run at all. You're not in a wheelchair division or something.
Right. That's great advice. Yeah, take advantage. There's always a silver lining. We've got a lot of runners that were actually hurt, so they'll probably be okay because they've got 6 extra months. They had 6 extra months to rest, and they'll train, and they'll be 100% by then. So.
Yeah. But now, within this month from here to September, you're going to have other people who are going to get injured along the way.
That is true. I'd say we had Jeff Galloway on the other day, and his advice was, as soon as you feel something, just stop and take care of that before you try and push it and make it worse.
Yeah, and people are so goal driven that you know how it is. You try to find a way through that and maybe train through it, and you start making it worse. Jeff is a real wise, great coach. Mm-hmm. And he's been around for a long time. He's an Olympian for that marathon.
Oh, yeah.
1972.
Yeah. He actually, he ran the 10,000 meters that year in the Olympics, and he paced somebody in the Olympic trials, and he peeled off on the final, on the track. Like, you do a loop on the track at the end of the trials.
Yeah, over in Eugene.
Yeah, he peeled off and let the guy take third. He was pacing his friend, because he already made it, like he was going to the Olympics already. So he peeled off and let the guy take the spot. It was very unselfish.
In that race, I believe, was Don Cardone, Jack Batchelor.
Yep, Jack Batchelor.
And Frank Schroeder.
Yep, Batchelor was the guy that was his friend. And Batchelor was the guy that was his friend.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Frank Shorter won it that year, right? He won in the
Yeah,
Olympics. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Not many people know the Olympic trial story about Jeff Galloway, but he's really, really, he's a good person. I know him personally for years, and I can't say enough about Jeff, and he is wise as a coach.
I believe it. Yeah, he's written 32 books. You know, he's written
32 books.
32 books, yeah. So,
yeah, and that's a lot of books.
okay. Okay, so wait, I've got Gwen. I've got a question from the audience here. I think you touched on this a little bit. So Gwen wants to know about the 10B pollen tablets again. I think it was a little hard for people to hear you at the beginning of this. Do you remember you used to take the 10B pollen tablets? Was there any particular reason, or it was just that fad?
Bee pollen has a lot of micronutrients in it. It's a very good food. I wouldn't say it's like a silver bullet, a super pill or anything. The brand that I was taking was coated with a phosphorus, had a little coating of phosphorus, which is a lactic acid buffer.
Okay.
And if you look online for lactic acid buffers, it allows you to be able to train longer and harder.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that regard, the bee pollen did work. And I use bee pollen at my home here now, but it's not coated with the phosphorus. I just take it for nutritional value. I like the taste of it.
Okay.
But that was the tablets that I had. It did work really well as a lactic acid buffer, which is good for runners because you deal with lactic acid.
Yeah, that's
It would buffer it up to like 15%, so you have a 15% edge. And I tell you what, I could feel it when I took it.
Oh wow, I never heard of that. I mean, I'm familiar. Like I've read Jack Daniel's book. You know, he preaches the lactic acid and the threshold runs, so that you're burning off the acid as fast as you're creating it. But I didn't realize there was pills out or something that you could take to kind of slow the production of it.
Yeah, if you look online right now, there are all these supplements. Usually bodybuilders use these supplements, but you can use them to your advantage. You just type in Google search lactic acid buffer, and you will see all of these products that have this ingredient.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I remember when Marjorie was running with you, you would tell her to take like sugar, not a sugar pill, but like some sort of tablet. Glucose tablets, yeah. But she would actually have them in her mouth and basically just suckle on them like candy for like a 5K, and it basically gave her the energy she needed for the whole race.
It's like running along and you're having an IV drip of fuel, because unlike white sugar that's in Coca-Cola, it doesn't get digested as fast.
Mm-hmm.
The glucose gets digested almost immediately, especially if you take it with some water. You hit a water stop and you take your glucose tablet,
Mm-hmm.
or if you just let it suck on it in your mouth as you go along, you get this constant fuel. It's really good. Like after 18 miles, like when you start to feel hitting the wall, you're getting a direct fuel source in this glucose. I've used this in marathons for 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I have glucose tablets right here in my running bag, and I highly recommend you fool around with that, like on your long runs.
Mm-hmm.
Have a little. I used to get a safety pin and put it inside my shorts, like in a little plastic bag. And when I needed feeling low on energy, I'd open up the bag and take out a glucose tablet. I used to use them really well at the end of half marathons too, because I would run the half marathon so hard that I would run out of fuel towards the end, and the glucose tablets are real pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, check them out. They get a whole roll for like $2.99. So they're cheap but very effective.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. So glucose
Yeah,
tablets.
thanks for asking.
Yep, glucose and lactic acid buffer. Any other nutrition tips you can offer for us?
Just a good overall balanced diet, like with really fresh
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been vegetarian 50-some years now.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I guess it doesn't, meat really doesn't affect the performance because you were running at a professional level.
I used to run sometimes, my highest mile a week was 155 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that as vegetarian.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of weeks of 140 miles a week, 20 miles a day.
Now, would you?
As vegetarian. So that whole meat thing has been overblown, especially by the meat industry. The
Mm-hmm.
meat lobby in Washington, they always push for eat lamb, eat pork, beef.
Right.
And it's just, that makes you feel insecure if you don't have your beef.
Now, what would you load up on? Carbs or something? Would you eat a lot of pasta or something else?
Well, yeah, just a good balanced diet without meat.
Okay.
Just, cereal for breakfast, orange juice, an apple, power bar.
Mm-hmm.
Lunch you can have a sandwich, peanut butter and jelly or something. At night you can have, like a pizza without the salami sausage on it, or pasta, a good salad, some bread.
Yep.
Little glass of red wine.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
I've demonstrated that you can run at a very high level and be fine without having no meat.
Yep. Oh, we got another.
There's more than meets the eye.
We have another question from the audience here. So Gwen again. Gwen wants to know if you're still part of the Philadelphia Vegetarian Society. Is it still around?
Gwen Cataloni?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not, but it still is going on.
It does exist.
Like the American Vegan Society, North American Vegetarian Society from Milligan, New Jersey. I lived there over the years in 73, 74, and it's still going on, and it's really catching on. You see a lot of vegetarian restaurants, even a lot of vegan restaurants, like this one opening up in Ambler from Ambler Area Running Club, great Rich Rogers.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
I'm not associated with it because of just my energy's into other things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did start Philadelphia Vegetarian Society some years ago.
Right. I know Rich. Rich's a nice guy. I didn't realize he was opening up a restaurant. That's great. I'll have to go support it.
Hey, yeah, right on Butler Pike, right down the street from the Lucky Well.
And go have dinner and then go check you out afterwards and watch you play music.
Yeah, well, my plan is when he opens up, I'm going to have a meal there, and then I'm going to go over and play music in Lucky Well.
All right, let me know. I'm in.
Okay.
All right, Gary, I appreciate your time today. This was great. I love hearing your stories. I miss seeing you in person, obviously. And hopefully this is all over soon and we can get out there and get a run-in soon.
Absolutely there, Vincent. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, you take care now.
Bye-bye.